share that, but
All right, it is 5:31. We will start the select board meeting of April 29th. I will call the meeting to order at 5:32. If you can join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, first up is the fire chief for the FY26 budget, please. Hi, how are you?
Good, yourselves?
Good, thank you.
So you received this package, right, with the budget and, yep. So we've been through a couple rounds with it, round with Chris, round with the finance committee. I met with them last week as well. One of the biggest concept in here, if you want to turn to the second pages, third page, sorry, the diagram page.
Yes.
So some of the challenges the department has had is if you look at how the shifts are arranged, there's 4 shifts of 2 people. 2 of those shifts, Group C and Group D, contain 1 career member and 1 what we call per diem or part-timer. So that's where some of the challenge has been over time, is trying to fill those 2 part-time positions, because they're typically filled with people from work careers in other departments, or call for us or have other jobs. So their other paying, I shouldn't say their paying job, but their career job comes into play, and then they have to call out, cancel. Plus, then the career folks have to cover the shift and create some overtime. So what I proposed and went through with Chris and whatnot is replacing one of those per diem positions or part-time positions with a career position this year. So we would have 3 shifts covered with 2 people, and then just 1 shift that has the per diem per se. The second part of this is if you look at the bottom scale, 70% of our calls come in pretty much 6 a.m. to 7, 8 o'clock at night. So we would carry a third person that would be in that shift, would be a per diem as well, covering what we call an impact shift or handle the peak shifts. This would be a little different than what's happening now, because if there's a third person, they might do it 24, tomorrow they might do it 12. It's been hit or miss on our coverage, which can become kind of dangerous, because the ambulance goes out of town, gone for 2 hours, went to Bay State. Now what do? You don't have anybody here at all, or you might just have the chief. So what this would do is put another person in the station, utilizing a part-time position, try to fill it, and then that person would be available to go on calls, backfill if they needed to, cover a vacation if they would needed to, maybe if it couldn't get coverage. Some of the union contract comes into some of this, and some of it kind of works in parallel. I know it's kind of confusing for a 5-minute discussion, but what the goal with this, and talking with Chris and John Libera, was try to bring some stability to the funding of the department. I know it's been all over the place, and we've been trying to fill the things. And there's been a lot of things going on after COVID of staffing, trying to get staffing, trying to get paramedics. All the departments are having that, and at the same time, everyone's call and volumes are going typically 10 to 15% a year. So I think this brings a little bit of stability to it. As far as the other line items, we have an increase in overtime. We have 2 members that'll be taking advantage of FMLA information, or FMLA rights, so to speak, for going out. So we have to cover those positions. That has a substantial financial impact for the possible up to 12 weeks. Everything else is pretty much along the lines of true costs that increase from a contract for like software or something like that. The good news is the department's in good shape as far as they've done a great job as far as upgrading air packs, upgrading, turnout gear, things of that nature, the jaws of life. They're in good shape. We have an ambulance coming in September. Chris, did that extra get in this on the, remember the 50,000 increase in the That's not in this one yet? Okay. So there is an increase in the ambulance from ordered 3 years ago that we have to address on the contract.
Okay.
But, other than that,
So that's not currently in the budget? So is that something that will be a capital expense at town meeting or?
I'll probably end up doing at the special town meeting for June is to maybe transfer excess funds from another department to cover the cost of the increased cost of the ambulance. Is it exactly 50,000 or?
I'll get you the exact, I thought I sent it, but I'll give you the exact number.
Okay, thanks.
It might have been Ira, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And so with the change in staff, you have estimated that the wages will go down? Is that the negative 15% that you're projecting?
So when you look at wages, you have to look also at fire and ambulance because they're split.
Okay.
So,
Which is the 225, 220, right?
we're
Yes.
yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there was, even though we're adding a person, I think, we bring a little stability to it and it actually
Yeah.
brings the price, the cost in line a little bit. Now, someone could get hurt. There's always a lot of
Yeah, variables.
variables, but,
Did we lose longevity? Looks like that line item is 100% gone.
Yeah, take a look at that.
Okay. Because that would be a stipend that's paid out to the people who are here for a long period of time, right?
There's only one person who gets it at this point in time.
Okay.
is that a 5-year start or
That's 10 years.
10 years?
So basically it's Tyler who gets it right now.
Okay. And again, the other thing, we also tried to, the union contract for the career are up for negotiations this year too. So we try to anticipate some of that too, but
Yeah.
who knows where that ends up.
Which would be reflective in the wages for the full-time, right? For the
Yes.
union? Okay. And the overtime, you're just projecting out because it's going up 10 to 15% of more service calls?
Yeah. And trying to use some history over time. It's been up and down, from when I left to now. It's been higher, it's been lower. It really, you're throwing a dart. You try to project,
Yeah.
you're just never sure. I think last year they had one person out for a year. So when you look at that, that's just double the salary right there.
Right.
Yeah.
And the radios and pagers, did the cost of them go down or,
No, we're in good shape with them.
Okay. so we don't need?
We did. So there was an earmark for portable radios that we're still trying to finalize in one of the other equipment grants. They've got a couple more radios, so we're in decent shape with those, I feel. Place we could absorb this year at least.
And the hazmat cost went up, so I did notice that percentage is high, but I know the cost to get rid of, is that the Sharps program that used to be funded by a grant?
Which one are you under?
That is the second page. Go to 5583 is that middle number, and it says hazmat county.
Okay, so what that actually is are dues for the Hampshire County.
Oh, okay.
So all the Hampshire County towns pay into that. It's used for training. It's used for purchase of some materials, group purchasing. What we call the Hampshire Six, which we can send someone for basic training type of thing. They called it that because way back it was all hazmat money, but you pay based on a prorated per population. And I think it was underfunded in the past, if I remember.
The first time I'm seeing Dufresne Judging on here. I have obviously seen it last year, but they still keep that line item there.
It's been there a long time.
Did the fire department used to do it?
When I was first here, I was charged with looking into pricing it and,
Okay.
you know, getting the engineers and other people, but it just we could never connect with it. It was
You're still working on it. Work in progress.
still shallow, right?
Still shallow, and it's 1.5 million. It's probably gone up since then.
I bet.
That was 2
Yeah.
years ago to dredge it. That was the
Wow.
estimate.
And there's those.
Yeah. Did you have any more questions, Dave? I think I've asked all the ones that I was looking at.
I mean, it looks pretty cut and dry, not much has changed.
Yeah, I mean, the marching orders were to keep it level if we could. And
Did the software maintenance go up a lot?
yes, did. So
That's all part of that package this year.
that's a particular software that they started last year. It's for our medical records, our fire reporting and permitting. It's a very robust product, but we are kind of toying around with looking at other products just to see if we can make up some cost savings there. Which makes the department cringe because they've gone through about 3 different ones over the, because
And every new software is in training.
bought out, merged, and you lose some functions, you gain some functions. It's frustrating. Being interim, I'm trying not to pull that too much, but if we can get a direction going for the next guy, then it'd be great.
Chris, what's the long-term debt for? What was that purchase?
That is the ambulance, the payment down on the ambulance.
That's on the new one?
Yes,
So we'll have to look at that because did you pay that last year too, since you've ordered?
Says we,
1/5 of it, yeah.
yeah.
We borrowed the money because we thought it was supposed to be.
Oh, you're paying back.
Yeah, we were
Okay,
supposed to have gotten it 2 years ago.
okay.
So what we did is we borrowed it the year we thought we were gonna get it. And it's been delayed
And back ordered, right?
for a couple of years.
Yeah, you ordered right in the middle of that chassis crisis when Ford stopped and Dodge stopped, and so
Yeah, so,
I'll get you the accurate number.
okay.
And I know when we were looking at the current staffing, I know, Chris, you had mentioned one way that we could save money is having one paramedic and one basic EMT on at the same time. And
We had talked about that, but I
Yeah.
talked with Chief Anderson about it too.
And the answer is yes. I mean, we're licensed what they call PB, a paramedic and a basic EMT. But sometimes we might have a paramedic in training. When you have a paramedic in training, they have to be in the back of the ambulance with the other paramedic, field operations kind of thing. So then you have a basic has to drive.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of some of the past history is what they were chasing. They had a lot of people in training. So there was a lot of moving parts. And the way you have to cover those moving parts are with people to keep your license.
yeah. Okay. I don't have any more questions. No.
So are you thinking, so your proposed staffing would be to go to 7 and 1 per diem rather than
Correct.
2?
Correct. And then have an impact shift during the day of a per diem as well.
Yes, I'm good.
All set?
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Russ.
Right, next is the interview with the fire chief candidate, Mr. Kraus. Come on up. Welcome. How are you?
Very good. How are you all?
Good, thank you. So you also came in front of us for the interim chief. I remember
Yes.
that interview. So thank you for applying because we did urge all the interims to apply for the chief's position. And lucky for us, you made it to the last round. So
Thank you.
yes, thank you. Did you get a chance to look at the assessment
I
scores?
did. I was very impressed with all the assessment scores, yourself included, and the other candidate, unfortunately, that took another position. So they were very impressive with all the scoring and aptitude tests and everything. So I was happy with what I saw.
Thank you.
So our other select board member is stuck in traffic right now, so he's unable to be here. Do you want to, I know we know you from the last interview, but do you want to just give kind of a little background about yourself for the people at home in case they didn't see the interim fire chief interview?
Sure. I joined the fire service in 2007, Holyoke Fire. I was a private for about 10 years, got promoted to lieutenant. I've worked on the truck companies in Holyoke, Truck 1 and Truck 2 since then. In 2015, when Springfield opened their branch of the Mass Fire Academy, I joined there and I've worked there ever since. I'm an instructor there. So my off days, I've been working there. I'm a father of 3 little girls. My wife has chose to stay at home and raise them, and we've all benefited from that. So I work as much as possible, and they understand. They share me with that, so I can provide. I live on Kendall Street. I've been there since 2015. All my children are in our schools here, and they're doing well. They're all playing soccer all the time, and we're running all over with them. So we enjoy it. We enjoy the town, and super happy here.
Very nice. And I do just have some questions because we weren't part of the interview process for the chief. So now that you've been through the assessment center and you've shadowed Chief Anderson a little bit here and there, what do you think your biggest challenge is as a new chief in our town?
So I just want to pause for a second. And as you mentioned, I did have an opportunity to shadow Chief Anderson. Yesterday, he invited me in, and I was grateful. And it was at that point that I learned that the other candidate wasn't pursuing it anymore, and that he found another position. And it was at that point that I kind of learned more about the top end of the scale as well. And so I did a lot of thinking last night, and I emailed did you receive an email from me today? I printed it out just in case. It was late in the day, so.
Okay.
But you made it in time for the interview.
How are you? Good, how are you?
Made it through the traffic.
I did. Roundabout way.
I brought a letter that the other members are reviewing. I left one there for you. I was trying to get it to you all before the meeting, so
Chris, what is the current highest that we have set for this position to pay? How much
I'd have
we
to go back and
allocated?
look at the ad. I don't remember what
Okay.
the highest amount was.
103.5.
I appreciate your transparency on it. I think it would be a serious conversation that the board would have to have because we are running such a tight budget right now. I think when we originally posted the ad, we did the research to see what the average fire chief is getting in a small town like ours. So I don't know that we can compete with the city's salary rate,
sure.
especially since we would also ask for Chief Anderson to stay on to train the new fire chief for at least a little while,
Sure.
so that they feel comfortable in the position and the role that they're taking over. Which is unfortunate, but
It is.
I don't know how you feel, or Glenn just got here, so I'll give him a few minutes to take it all in.
Is there a certain amount you're looking for?
It wasn't
I
near.
mean, I need maybe just a
Yeah.
price range, I mean, a range, I don't need the exact amount.
I think that if it was higher, and I don't know where the numbers came from, and I don't disagree. Like the smaller towns do different things, but
Yeah.
I honestly think that that's why you're having the problem with the fire chiefs turning over so much. That if it's hard to do and to be available 24/7 like you need to be. Like I work 3 different jobs and I'm willing to step back from all of them to focus on to be present to make sure that all the residents have that 24/7 and a chief that's available for all your emergencies. How it's now is just not like I'm accustomed to, not how we teach to operate in the fire service. Like, just like Russ was saying, like there needs to be a little bit more staffing, like whether one member more during the day, but when the ambulance goes out, and if I was there, or if I wasn't there, then there's no coverage at all. And that would bother. I would be thinking about that. I would make sure that if I knew that the ambulance was out, I better be available for that time. Like there really isn't any room to step away. And if I wanted to go and work a part-time job to try to make up that difference, that I agree, it's a smaller town, but you do need that high focus chief to make sure everything is running safely and smoothly. When a fire call comes in right after an ambulance call, there's the only option is mutual aid. And if you're using mutual aid for everything all the time, then it's no longer mutual aid. It's, we're just asking for help all the time. So we got to kind of be in a position to pay it back after we ask for it. So that would be if Ludlow's asking for help, or Belchertown or South Hadley, then we got to have a crew of 3 people ready to move to pay that mutual aid back. And if we weren't in a position to do something like that, and it's a big conversation. It's a conversation that in the assessment center, I said one of the first things that I would do, and it would probably be something I would have to do before I even accepted the position if it was offered to me, is to meet with you and have a serious conversation, meet with the finance committee and have a serious conversation, and make sure everyone's visions aligned. Because if you're bringing in a chief in that is just looking for a job and was like, all right, I'll just keep, I won't be available. I could do something else to make up the difference to, pay the bills, whatever. And they're not ready to pick up that slack in a tight department. Like a tight department is exciting and it's fun. You'd be going on all the calls, but it's also, it gets to be risky, and we try to eliminate as much risk as possible in the fire service. And, that would be the fire department that I would try to create, and I would try to get everybody on board with my vision. But that's why, the number, I haven't thought of the exact number, but it would be drastically higher than the 103. That's what I'm currently making as a lieutenant in Holyoke. So it would be, enough that I could stop my other part-time job and focus 100% on, because it's 24/7. It's not everything when I'm going on vacation, I'd make sure a deputy was available to pick up the slack while I was gone. But besides that, you're on duty. But I also, there might be candidates that don't have the financial obligations that I have that could do the job. And maybe they are, you might, and that's why in my letter, I should have read the whole thing, and everybody, I'm not trying to keep it confidential. I was trying to get you guys to, I sent it late in the day today. I kind of learned some stuff and had some questions answered that I didn't know about yesterday. I didn't know the other person had stepped down yesterday. And I also, I don't know where I got the top end. The top end I heard was 112, and that 112, and I don't know if it was posted or not, if it was 103. I think in the interim I saw the posting of 103, but don't quote me on that. In either number, it really still wouldn't make a big change. But when I learned that the high end was 112 and that I was the last person going for it, I didn't want to sit down here in front of you today and say, I'm here and I could possibly do this for 103, and I couldn't possibly do it for 112. So maybe if you came up a little bit, post it again, get more people in. Maybe you'll find somebody that doesn't have my financial responsibilities and could do it for a lower number. And if you can't, I would be here and I'd be willing to, at that time, talk about the right number. Or if you wanted to talk about it and call me back in, I'd be willing to come in and talk again. But I really wasn't ready to break it down any farther than that tonight.
No, I think that's fine. I mean, you gave me plenty of information. I was looking for a range, and you really gave that there as to what you're kind of looking for, and I appreciate that as well.
And it definitely wasn't my intention to waste time with the assessment center. If John was here tonight, I was going to sit here and tell you, if John is willing to do this and it's possible for him financially to do it, you should pick him. Because I met with John, and John seemed like a dedicated, qualified candidate. We sat together while we were taking turns going in the assessment center, and I had nice chats with them. So they did a good, not myself, they did a good job selecting the other candidate anyways. You could decide for yourselves about me, but I thought they did a good job finding him. And I, as a resident of this town, I would like you to find somebody that could do it cheaper than me. And if you could find somebody cheaper and do it better, then that's the right choice.
I do appreciate your honesty.
Sorry for the curveball.
No, I understand. We all have financial commitments to our families, and we've got to put our family first. So I understand that. So I guess, where does that leave the board? Do we put it out to post again and see if we can get another fire chief, or do we go back to the assessment center with the other candidates that you had started with?
Russ, do you have any input on that?
I think I would recommend, if Brian, I haven't seen the letter, so Brian, I kind of sensed from our discussion, there were some concerns on things. But I would repost, I would change some of the parameters in it, mileage being one of the big Typical for civil service is typically at 15 miles to the border of the town. I would utilize that as kind of that, and if the salary, probably need to look at salaries a little closer, and see where that is with some of the studies that have been out there with like towns as well. And it might need to look further than going through Massachusetts. You know, I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time
Thank you.
and for coming in.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sorry it didn't work out.
Yeah. I know we have the building commissioner for 6, but do you guys just want to take a moment and do you want to just research what the salaries are again? Might have changed from when we first posted it because that was a while ago that we posted it.
I have some access. I'll give you
A range. Okay.
Yeah, we can find that. It's all public record. So, find out.
Yeah, there's been a couple studies done recently.
Yeah.
Try to tackle.
Okay. Thank you. All right, next is the building commissioner. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good. How are you guys? Did you get the copy of the?
Are we starting with solar field? Yeah, what do you want to start?
yeah. I think I had them in order. So we start with electrical.
Yep.
Yep.
Only thing Art had thought maybe is solar field should be added. So I actually included his email to the copy because of the time it takes them to do the inspections.
Okay. So minimum is $100 and then $7 for every $1,000 off the job. Is that what that translates to?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
7,000 minimum. Yes, correct.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. So you're going to separate the solar commercial from solar field installations.
Yes.
On the top chart, Tom, you have solar as 250.
That would be the
Is that just-
commercial, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. We're on residential on this one.
Well, no, he's got a sentence down here that says solar commercial and then solar fields.
Sorry. Yep. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Could we, yeah, it's just under commercial.
Yep.
Chris, do you need us to make a motion to approve the changes in it? Do you have any questions, Bob?
I would question what are other cities or towns charging for like solar fields, stuff like that. I don't want to price yourself out of people looking to put solar fields here. I mean,
Exactly. Your fees are very low compared to, I did the comparison in my chart.
Yeah.
And your fees, but I'm not specific with that. But your fees across the board are very reasonable
Yeah.
compared to, I even reached out to bigger communities because I believe it was Art that thought I should do South Hadley and, Belchtown. But of course, the population was so much bigger, but they still were across the board. You'll see with the building, all about the same compared to Granby. And when we get to the building, if you're happy with what we have, I'm fine. I don't have to be the bad guy again. But since we're doing it, let everybody know, since we're going to be attaching these to the program that we have the grant for, now's the time instead of paying later to have them increase, say, 6 months. So I just reached out to everybody and did a review so that if you wanted to do it, now is the time.
So before Damien left, he went for the grant, the programming for.
Yeah.
Because they have the calculation page and they enter all that and do the, figure it for us so that,
So South Hadley is around 7, Hadley's around 7,
yes, yep,
higher or lower?
a little higher, but so they're 10.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. 20%, but we're still in the, we're adding it more, but we're still.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. You don't want to discourage them either.
Fine, yeah.
I will make a motion to update the permit fees for solar farms to $100 minimum and $7 per thousand thereafter.
Solar fields.
Solar fields, yes.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
With an effective date of June 1st
For the new,
For
yeah.
the new
for
fiscal
the
year.
new, no, not for the new fiscal year. That way you're gonna give a 30-day notice. You're gonna post the new revised rates and give everybody who comes in a 30-day notice that that change will be taken effect.
With a effective date of June 1st to allow a 30-day notice for residents to understand going into the new fiscal year what the fees will be.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I think it was, well, I'll second the motion.
Further discussion?
I think it's clarified, it's, it's $7 per thousand of the entire project, so people understand that.
Yep.
Clarified a little bit.
Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Aye. All right, gas permit?
Gas permits. So these are, again, very, very reasonable. He just wanted to go up. And he said, do you think it's close enough to everybody else? And they're happy. Like you said, we're not supposed to make money. So it's, basically $20, and he's adding, new and renovation for the 220 each fixture. And the trick with this is right now the plumbing is through, and there's very few towns left, but it's through the Board of Health. So I've reached out to the chair and we're going to sit down and so I don't know if you have a say or if it's combined as far as the fee for the plumbing, but I just thought I would throw that in. His recommendation, Mr. Marion's recommendation would be to do the same with that, but it may have to go through Board of Health.
So that would be the next one down where you put an asterisk that says plumbing permit one-time inspection is 60, but the new renovation is 100 plus the 10? Is that what you're?
Oh, the third page, I'm sorry. The third, which we didn't get into because it really, right now, he works under Board of Health.
Okay.
So the suggestion by Mr. Marion would be to combine, especially when the program will be there and we'll be, training for the program, and we can put the plumbing and gas rate under to make it convenient for the public and the contractors.
So commercial's going up $120.
Well, new construction would be going $30 with the added per fixture, right?
Correct, yes.
And then commercial, non-residential, new or renovation. We don't even have that on our,
No, because we currently $100, it's all in, I guess residential and commercial.
okay.
I know there's this difference.
Right, because he took it out of the residential. Correct.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So it would be, instead of 80, it would be 120
Yeah, we're more doubling
plus.
the commercial.
There was nothing for fixtures, or no, it would be 10. So
What,
it's going
20
up
each?
10.
20 each.
Okay.
Which went up from to 10.
Again, kind of start off with saying it's reasonable, but we're looking to increase it. So we're increasing it from something that's reasonable.
That's my suggestion. We got to mind would be to think about it. I think we're going to have time, but instead of deciding tonight, I'd rather have you check and maybe I should do a kind of a sheet for theirs as well. For some, whatever towns you think we get to mind that, I just threw out, it's a big race for the building.
Yeah.
To be equal. That's why I really wanted you to look at it and think and listen to, see what the public thinks.
So the document that you gave us that has like a comparison between the communities, it doesn't have gas on here.
Nope, this is just all building permits. And the first one was the comparable, population, but I did want to, I think Art had a good idea with just throwing, so I put the 2 Granby at the start, then added South Hadley and Belchertown. But they're more than, double or triple the population, so I just,
Okay.
like I said, I just threw what the majority of them were in here as a proposal, but it is a big jump for Granby, so I really want you to make sure you spend enough time thinking. I didn't know what to put there. I was just going to leave it blank and let you,
For which one? I'm sorry.
for the proposal for the building.
Okay.
You have the first word it is now compared to what the proposal was, which is, you look right across the board, it's about the same. It's just that it's a huge jump. And I'm the one that's going to hear about it. So if you, if you think that's, I just threw that in because of the other ones, but if you think you want to look that over and, cut it down, whatever it be.
So currently we're 7 per thousand for a new single family dwelling, and you're proposing just going up 65 cents?
Yes, I would jump into this one now. The reason being is the square footage price, that would be per square foot. Is it's a lot easier to fudge numbers with the new construction. So it's by square footage, it seems to work out with the new construction a lot better. That's why you'll see, I believe everybody on here was by, per thousand. Oh, no, Mr. Deerfield was the only one that didn't do per square foot.
What is the plus 52 afterwards? So you do 65 cents per square foot and then add an additional $52 on it?
Yes. And the reason was a lot of them were 40 plus, the 10,000 or 9,000, whatever it be. When we got to the program, I was going to explain that the $12, we talked about 10, but it went up, July 1st last year for the permitting program, that we'd add it right to the, from moving forward, it wouldn't cost us anything, the $12 per permit. That's why it's an odd number like that. That's what other communities seem to have done with that program.
Okay. Yeah, it just seemed weird that it was
Yes, I'm sorry.
the twos afterwards.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, something to look at would be, just doing the 10,000 or whatever it be and just do the $12. That was just throwing some numbers compared to the others. And like, I think Damon went up, because it is a short time to be reviewing it again, but I think he went up $10 on a, just a roofing permit. And what all the other towns do is it's by the 1,000. So you're, $60 is what you're paying here. And if it's an $18,000 roof, it's, 200 and whatever dollars. A big, big difference. Sure.
Yeah, everyone's doing per 1,000. Can I just ask you, sorry, one more question about the gas permit one?
Sure.
So it says any work that requires only one inspection, $80, and then underneath it says additional overlisted one. So any additional times that you have to go back, wouldn't that just be a reinspection or no?
I'm assuming.
Okay,
Yeah, Mr. Marion had done that, dropped it off.
that was for the plumbing, is what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay. So it would just, yeah, it would fall under the reinspection then,
Yes.
which currently is $60, so it would just be going up 20.
And I'm not sure how they get compensated, I'm salary, so it doesn't matter what with mine.
The inspector has to be paid.
But I'm not even, I didn't get into them, but what, maybe Chris knows, what they, if they get a percentage out of that or, a specific amount. I know years ago, like when I worked in Southampton, it was 60 an inspection for plumbing and electrical, and they got 40, the town got 20. By Stanton was 75, it was 50, 25 years ago. A town like Sunderland, the $15 goes to the town and everything else goes to the inspector. Not even a percentage. They do very well as a, inspector in like a small town like that. But the big commercial job comes in.
Right, so does the board wanna, are we holding off on the gas permit for now, or do you guys want to look at that one first? That was the first one in the packet.
Yeah, I'd rather look at it a little bit.
Okay. So we'll table the
Table of gas per.
gas
Yeah.
permit.
Did you want me to do a chart kind of like this with some comfortable?
I'm curious. Like I said, we're, more than doubling a commercial.
Gotcha. I'd find out what he was thinking there.
Yeah. So, with building permits. Well, they're based on what the builder expects the cost to be, or how's that based on?
Well,
You said you can fudge it, so what's that based on?
well, if it's, because by right, you can say that, you get 500,000 to build a house. If you questioned why they put down 2 because they can't build it. Well, the landscaping wouldn't be part of what their contract was. The, carpet doesn't, flooring, cabinets, things like that. They can, up the numbers and do it. So it's a lot, it's cut and dry when you do square footage. It's fair across the board, I guess, is what, why a lot of them have, all but the one has gone to that.
So the builder can make it cheaper by not going by square footage.
Right,
and not
they'll
including
put a lower
things, and
number
then
in.
the building commissioner can make it higher by including things. So this way you just say you're building that X amount of square feet.
Yep.
This is the cost.
This is the cost. Because you can question, and maybe they'll go up a little bit, but how far are you going to question it?
Yeah.
And it keeps it equal, everybody fair.
So I guess if you took into consideration a 2,000 square foot house, that's what, 65 cents a square foot, what, about $1,300?
Well, it's 7 plus the 65. He wants to add 65 cents to the season that we charge.
Wow.
So he's not suggesting we decrease it. He's suggesting we go up 65 cents per 1,000
Okay.
and then base it off of square footage.
So why don't I take one of the newest one that came in, even recently, or one of the last one that came in, and take the square footage
Yeah.
and do it out for you?
Yeah.
And see what the difference would be. That would give you that idea.
Yep. So I'll actually look at them.
So you'll do what the old price is. You'll do what the new price would be if we set the new rates.
Yes,
For
give some examples.
I would agree. I mean, building by square footage is straightforward.
Right. But I'll go by what they put for a price.
Yeah.
It's a crapshoot, but we'll just see what they had put down and do it that way too. I'll pull a few of them up.
Okay.
That's good. And like you said, we have some time before we have to input this into the program to make the decision.
Yeah, well, it's going to be, with the grant, how we work it. So
Okay.
we wanted to get this approved first.
Okay.
He's ready to get us right online
Oh,
with
okay.
it. But do we wait for the money? I don't know how all it goes. Never received a grant. This is great. That was actually my next, thing to discuss that. Damon had got that nice grant, so we're going to be able to get the tablets for all the inspectors. So you go out, take a picture right on site, enter right to that permit. It's gonna work out nice. And it won't be a fee in the future because if we add it to the fees.
Glenn, before he moves on to that service contract, are you okay with him giving us examples? And
Yeah, I want, let's be.
okay.
Yep.
And then would you be able to have that for our next meeting?
Sure. Yep.
All right, so next was the Granby service agreement. Is that the one you were just talking about?
Yes, for the program, yeah, I again just wanted you to have it to look at. I'm not sure if we need to wait till we get the actual grant money or if you get it ahead, how it works.
Chris, would you be able to tell us, or do you know anything about the grant that Union went for?
We should be getting the grant because I think we just filled out all the paperwork
Okay.
with the state to be able to get it. The money will just come in, but you can start spending before it's received. If you send us
Okay.
here.
So then you're just waiting on us then? for
Yes,
the
yep.
prices.
So sooner the better. And it looks like there's plenty in that grant to do. I think it's 6,000 to have everything. I've never done it with the program, but they'll enter all the past data in. So it'll all be updated instead of having to go back in the files. We'll still have that as an additional backup, but I think it was 6,000 to enter everything that everybody thought it was a good idea. I never knew they offered that service.
I know, because that would be a headache for you to have to go in and manually enter just to get everything.
Oh, right. Yeah, to do that. We just always kept any other community I worked in, we just looked up the old files.
So our next meeting is Monday. That's enough
Perfect.
time for you?
That'll work.
Okay. So Kathy, can we put the building commissioner on the agenda for Monday?
Already have down.
Perfect.
And the other thing I was just gonna talk about the program is the good thing is gonna be able to task. So I will task, and actually, when I get it set up, it'll actually automatically, I check it every time, but it'll actually task right away for the collector. There's no
Okay.
checking back and forth with
Continuity between the
emails, right?
departments. That's good.
And I'll work it out with, fire department, how they want to work it, whether, most chiefs are going to want the plan still delivered to them, but requires their sign off, or if they're going to be okay with what's already entered. I know with solar, when I do my review, I'll look for the setbacks and all so that I know they have it. But Hadley, for example, he still required them to deliver a full set to the station, which they think is pretty common, but
Okay.
that's a great feature with it.
Don't they have to sign off on placement of smoke and CO2s anyway?
Yep.
So,
It's a second, more eyes on it.
All right. Very good. That's good news.
All right.
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next is the Lions Club. We're not too far behind.
Actually, Dave Cody, President of Lions Club. I'm representing the American Legion community service project we're doing for them. So we're rebuilding the hall. It hasn't been renovated since the early 90s. You may tell by the barn board inside. And the kitchen was closed due to noncompliance with the hood. So we put a fundraiser together, and the Lions Club is sponsoring it as our community service project for this year, rebuilding the hall and also building a new kitchen for them. And we've been able to raise funds through American Legion, and I've also worked with a lot of local companies. So far, we've gotten over $50,000 in donations, and we've raised about $40,000. And so we're able to kick this project off in May, finally. We've been working on it for a year. And we filed for our permit. And Tom, let me know that the fee was, I think, $588. And we're wondering, since we're getting a lot of donations, where money is still a challenge we haven't bought the kitchen equipment yet, not things. We're trying to ask if you, being a nonprofit organization, veterans organization, would be willing to help us on that fee.
So the fee includes the building commissioner and all the inspections, correct? Yeah.
No, that includes, yeah.
For the building alone is $840.
$840 for the building?
$840, okay. Yeah. And I think, you mentioned, I think the plumbing inspector, electrical, they have to get paid anyway. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't be something you could help us with from what we, okay? But we would really appreciate it because we're, it's a nonprofit and we're still raising funds for the rest of the equipment. So that's what we're asking. And I don't know if I gave you, got some cover sheets for the project?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions about the project itself?
It should have been, right underneath the,
Right in the
Right.
back.
yeah. It's on the back of that sheet. So it's right on top. Flip it over.
I also have a picture of it if you like to see what the kitchen will look like.
Oh, very nice.
Okay. Well, we'll be installing a hood to meet the codes, okay, all right? Kleberg's doing that work. Stove, ovens, fryers, a full functioning kitchen so they can start to serve meals to the veterans again. And a local
Okay.
community will also have, as you can read in the cover letter, all the organizations in Granby that utilize the hall. It's really the only hall in town that's being utilized that way. So, as you know, got the American Legion, Legion Riders, so Hadley VFW, Veterans Outreach Programs, the Granby Lions, we meet there, the Athletic Associations, Sportsman's Club, and a lot of other local community members meet there.
I think it's a great thing that you guys are doing. And we pay our building commissioner a salary. So you are a nonprofit. I mean, I'm willing to waive the fee for the building commissioner. But we do have to pay the inspectors, and I don't want that to come out on the taxpayers.
I would say, I agree with that. That's fine. All of us, by the way, just so you know, all the labor's being, all of us are donating all of our labor too. There's no cost. Everybody's been wonderful so far to donate all their time, materials too. So I appreciate that. If you could do that, that'd be awesome.
I don't know how, that was just my opinion. So I got to lean on the other
Please,
board.
answer any questions, talk about it, yeah.
Agreed, but it's something we need to be careful of because this isn't something that we've approved before, a waiver for kind of the entertainment and flea market for non-profit. We approved it as a board.
Yes.
So now we're looking at doing it individually.
And
So
setting
either-
precedent. And setting precedent.
Right, so either this board says, okay, for all nonprofit, we're willing to do this for. Because if not, then you're starting to kind of look, pick and choosing who you do it for, and I don't like that.
I agree with that. We can't pick and choose. It's gotta be all or none.
And that's how we came up with permanent waiver fee request in the first place, was to kind of have them fill the question and look at everything and say yes or no to it. We're outside the scope of what our current
Right.
request form is for.
Mainly for licenses and
Because it has common vic, entertainment and flea market. That's what you're saying. But
That's what the board
Okay.
approved this for in the past. That's what we designed the form and approved it for that. Now we're outside that.
I wouldn't think you're gonna have a lot of nonprofits building too much. In fact, this project is, as you say, the Lions Club is sponsoring it. We're doing I've been able to get local companies to volunteer. For instance, example, $28,000 worth of plumbing costs are being donated from their cost. I got the donation of the labor. Home Depot, $20,000. We've gotten a lot of organizations locally to donate materials, Crawley, all the materials. We wouldn't be able to do this project without those kind of things. And $800 is, just a lot of money to give to the town so that the veterans organization can upgrade the facility to meet the code that was required for them. Because the town shut the kitchen down to begin with, it didn't meet code. So I just happened to be meeting over as a Lions Club and recognized they didn't have a kitchen a couple of years ago, and asked them what they need, what we could do to help them. And I got involved in this after I retired, because what I did in my previous life was a construction manager for Eastman Chemical. So, I've been able to get Kittredge, like I say, Kleberg, you name them. We've got everybody, Western Builders donating. So no, I didn't worry about set present, but I think to charge a nonprofit that kind of money is just something they don't have the funds for. But I'm just asking for your help, that's all.
No, and I understand that completely, and I know the board is against that. We just have to do it in a proper way. So like I said, I think it's to the board to say that we look at doing for all nonprofits. If the board's okay with that, then I'd say we can move forward with this. But that's a discussion for the board. Because right now we don't have that, and then we can start picking and choosing what we're gonna waive fees on.
Well, what about it being a veterans organization, all the veterans that they've done for our country, that way you're not hung up where you do all
We're
nonprofit.
not opposed to it. It's
No, you're not. I'm just saying, you could look at it that way. I'm saying is you're doing it for the veterans organization, not necessarily just all nonprofits qualify for it. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to give you, some lingo, right? You know what I mean? You're not setting precedent. You're saying that for the veterans organization, we're going to do this because of what they gave to our country, but not all nonprofits are eligible for this just because you're nonprofit. If that was your concern.
that's part of it, yeah.
I like the idea, but I also have to agree with Glenn that we can't set a precedent up front, and then everybody that comes to us for something like this will want the same expectations. If the form could, can we table it possibly, and then do we have a conversation about changing that? Or could we do a reduced fee possibly?
Well, again, this is something that
If we do a percentage, then we could give a percentage to everybody. That was a nonprofit. I do agree that this form does not state that. It is specifically designed for license fees.
I would think if you go with the veterans organization, which it is, there's a couple of them in there, and that's what you set your precedent for instead of just a nonprofit. I think that's would not leave you open to everybody coming wanting to get fees permitted waived. It's $800 we can put into some of the piece of equipment, which we don't have the money for yet in the kitchen. We're just able to get the what installed in the other pieces. We're still raising funds for the rest of the kitchen equipment. Could it be a donation from the town towards the project? Would that be a better way of approaching it? I'm just,
we're setting a precedent that we don't usually do. So that's what we need to make sure that we're doing it the right way. I don't think the board has an issue with waiving a fee. I think it's more, more to get through in the proper way. So it's across the board. That's what this town board's got to think about.
Can I make a suggestion that you table it until we have a chance to review the request with town council
That's where I was going to go with it.
and see if what his recommendations are, if you try and go down as a veterans organization route? Because I think if you just try and single out one group, I think you may open yourself up to discrimination against other groups. Okay, that they could take you to court, and next thing you know, you get the ACLU in front of you, you've got discrimination in front of you, and a lot of people are out there just waiting for you to make a mistake. So I would rather feel more comfortable if town council has a chance to voice his opinion regarding this request.
I'd agree 100%. That's where I was kind of going with it. Eventually kind of tabling it and look at the options, because we do open ourselves up to other actions if we kind of just start thinking who we're going to deal with.
we move forward without AD&P?
The board was okay, they sent me an email, everything's all set to issue the permit.
We're starting, we've got the hall not rented for the month of May. Go ahead.
Email and the board was okay that, if this doesn't work out, we're gonna get the payment, you were okay with that.
Yeah, so we can reach out, Chris can reach out to town council or Kath tomorrow and kind of looking at what we're looking at. He can take a couple days, 2-3 days to look at it and get back to us, and we Have a meeting next Monday, and we can look at it at that point.
That's the day we start actually, but we'll have to, as long as if you don't approve it, we're gonna have to pay you. We're not gonna have to stop the project. We'll have to raise some more money to pay the fee, but well, appreciate your time and, maybe, Monday I'll come back and we'll see if you talk to the council.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll table it in the meantime.
works.
We'll
Yeah,
have
you're
those
right.
conversations and.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, right up, right.
Steiner. There is a letter from the town clerk. The Board of Registrars met on April 18th, 2025, and they voted unanimously in favor of holding in-person early voting for the Monday, May 19th, 2025 annual town election. The board felt that they should give the voters the option if they wish to vote early in person. However, they don't feel this would attract enough voters to make it worthwhile to hold in person at the old library. The registers feel the election may attract enough to make it worthwhile to hold in person early voting in the clerk's office during regular office hours. It would be 9 to 3, Monday through Friday. Or 9 to 3, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 12 on Friday. The registers is recommending that the select board opt in to hold in-person early voting from Monday, May 5th through Wednesday, May 14th during regular business hours. And they are looking for a vote from the board in favor of this recommendation from the Board of Registrars.
When they had early voting before, Chris, how late did they go to?
I think they went to 5 o'clock. I think that's what they usually did, didn't they, Kathy? It was like 8 to 5 or 9 to 5.
Saturdays too.
Yeah.
And how many, did they collect data on how many people actually came?
I don't know what they collected.
I'm gonna say no, because the clerk's office is not handicap accessible.
Oh, that,
So that person who's handicapped wants to go and vote early,
Can't do it.
doesn't have that option.
Okay.
I would have to agree with that. They don't have accessibility for everybody. I don't think it should be partial to some and not.
Okay. That's fine.
I mean, that's just, I like the thought process, but if everybody can't have the opportunity to vote, then
Would you prefer, if they're holding it, to be held at the old library during regular office hours?
Which is accessible.
yeah, and it would
Fine.
still be 9 to 3, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 12 on Friday.
What? Why did they not suggest that originally, do you know? Because that's where it's all.
All they're saying is when they, in the letter that I have from them, it says, the board of registers feels that we should give the voters the option if they wish to vote early in person. However, the registers feel this won't attract enough voters to make it worthwhile to hold the in-person at the old library. That's all they're saying. They don't think there's going to be enough people who are going to want to go and do early voting in person.
But it's past practice that we've been doing.
It's past
so-
practice. We've done it there. Yes.
Well,
The board feels we should continue with that past practice. I don't have a problem writing back to the town clerk and letting her know via email that the board doesn't feel that her office is an ideal location for all potential voters, and that the old library is a more suitable for all voters who wish to do in-person voting.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
think that's the best way to go, Chris.
Okay?
I agree. Yep.
Now I have, a bunch of two-frame rentals, which we can run through in a fairly quickly manner. The first one is on Sunday, May 4th, 2025. It's a birthday party on the Taylor Street side, Pavilion number 1, arriving at 2:30 p.m., departing 5:45. No liquor. Maximum number of people is 25. We have one for May 10th, 2025. It is a youth fishing event. The large pavilion and access to the pond and bathrooms. Arriving 8 a.m., departing 1 p.m., no liquor, maximum number of people, 100. We have one for May 17th, 2025. It is a graduation party for the parking lot area, open field, wooded areas on either side of the open field and the pavilion. Arriving 11 a.m., departing 3 p.m., no liquor, maximum number of people, 35. We have one for May 30th, 2025. It is a graduation party. Area requested is the parking lot area, open field, wooded areas on either side of the open field and pavilion. Arriving 8 a.m., departing 5 p.m., no liquor, maximum number of people, 60 to 75. We have one for June 6th, 2025. It's a grade 6 field for end of year bonding activities. They're requesting the parking lot area, open field, wooded areas on either side of the open field in the pavilion. Arriving at 9:45 a.m., departing 2 p.m., no liquor. Number of people is 60. We have one for June 17th, 2025. It is a summer concert, the gazebo and the lawn area, arriving 4 p.m., departing 8 p.m. No liquor authorized. Number of people, 300. We have June 22nd, 2025. It is a company picnic, arriving at 8:30 a.m., departing at 5 p.m. No liquor authorized. We have one for June 28th, 2025. It's a birthday barbecue, arriving at 10 a.m., departing at 10 p.m., no liquor authorized. We have one for July 13th, 2025. It is a group picnic. The area requested is the large pavilion and gazebo and the large open field. Arriving 11 a.m., departing 6 p.m., no liquor authorized, maximum number of people, 70. We have one for July 19th, 2025. It is a family reunion, arriving 9 a.m., departing 6 p.m., no liquor authorized. We have one for July 27th, 2025. It's a anniversary party, 75 people, or 75th anniversary party, I'm sorry. Arrival to be determined, departing to be determined, and no liquor authorized. We have one for August 16th, 2025. It is a family picnic, requesting the parking lot area, open field, wooded areas on either side of the open field and the pavilion. Arriving 9 a.m., departing 5:30 p.m. No liquor authorized, maximum number of people, it says 1, but I think it should be more than that. On September 6th, 2025, we have a family reunion, looking at about 199 people, arriving 10:30 a.m., departing 6 p.m., no liquor authorized. And that's it.
Well, it's nice to see that it's getting rented out so much.
Yes.
Very nice.
And that takes you up to 6:47.
Yes, it does. All right, Charter Day Committee. Randy, You can just state the name for people.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
Randy gave him.
Charter Day Chair.
Yeah, Charter Day Chair, so. Sorry, I just been sick, so. I have contracts for, the vendors and the food applicants. Most of them have been here before, in the past. Dean Elliott, his food, which he's bringing in Dino's Concessions. So he's got two different, trailers.
So Randy, did you give all of these to Kathy? They have to go through Kathy and then through the Board of Health for their own common victualer's license and then the fire department. So Kathy gets all the Charter Day contracts
Okay,
and then the select board looks at them.
yeah, I didn't get a chance to copy, but
Okay.
I've been really sick, so.
Okay, we can give it to Kathy.
All right, yeah, because I have pneumonia, so I wasn't able to get here. Got everything separated, so. And then I actually have a couple more I'm gonna have to get then, because I have.
So I think if it's for the contracts, we can give those to Kathy and we can look them over and then be ready for the May 5th meeting, which is just Monday.
All right,
We can take a look at them. Was there any questions that you specifically had for the board forward?
actually, it was mainly you,
Okay,
and it was just about the, Board of Health paperwork, filling it out, because it asked for the EIN number.
you don't fill out any Board of Health paperwork. It's the vendors that do that.
No, I have to fill out this one, right? So, that's what they said. It's the mobile food permit application.
But you're not selling.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
So that's for the food vendor to fill out.
all
So
right,
they have to fill out the common vics license, the Board of Health paperwork. And then if they have a fry later, they're gonna also have to fill out for the fire department as well.
okay, because the other one we were talking about for the food vendor over by the,
Truck pull side?
yeah,
Okay.
he and I talked today, and he's gonna go, and I'm sending him the thing for that, so that way, that'll all be set.
Okay. Yeah, so he would fill out all the paperwork and pass it to Kathy.
Okay,
So your end is just to pick the food vendor, Randy. They're to do their job and do the rest.
all right, I have a couple more contracts, I'll have to get them picked up from, Steve has them right now,
Okay,
because he picked up the mail the other day, and there was a new, food vendor in there.
okay,
And then we have a couple other ones that are coming in, so. But all the food vendor spots will be pretty much full,
okay.
so.
Nice.
And then a few more vendors, hopefully.
Okay.
But yeah, that was about it.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, so Kathy can take those contracts from you. And if you have any questions, just give me a call.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Randy.
It's no easy
Yeah.
task you're taking on. Appreciate it.
All right, next is citizen participation. We have Ray Morset for 16 East Street, White House.
Good evening.
My name is Raymond Morissette. I live at 17 East Street, Granby.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. The White House has been continuing to operate illegally in Massachusetts state and local laws, especially now since the Selectboard has not issued any of the 2025 operating licenses to the White House. This has greatly increased the town's liability. Majority of the White House neighbors filed a complaint with the town select board on May 2024. Town of Granby's building commissioner issued a cease and desist order on June 2025. This order is still in effect but has not been enforced by the town of Granby appointees and elected officials. The White House neighbors are upset with the town for not enforcing the 2024 cease and desist order and have hired their own attorney to enforce the Massachusetts state and local laws. If the town of Granby appointees and elected officials do not close down the White House, the neighborhood attorney initiating action against the town of Granby and the White House, which will include but not limited to neighborhood damage and court costs. And that's where we're kind of at with this, is we finally got some legal people involved because it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. He's operating like he doesn't need a license. We do what we want when we want to do it. It's not right. That's all I have to say. Just figured you needed to know what's going to happen if the things are not put in their proper order. Thank you.
Thank you.
For what you do too.
Thank you.
Trying to help
Appreciate
us
that.
out. I know you're here and every week you're dealing with different problems. This one's been ongoing. Hopefully it'll resolve itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
And George Randall?
George Randall, 52 Taylor Street. I originally came here tonight expecting that we were going to have a new fire chief. And so at this point, we'll look forward to what's going to happen and move forward. I was pleased to hear Crystal mention that the possibility of keeping Chief Anderson on for an extended period of time as a mentor, and I think that would be a very good thing to do. So as a member of the search committee, I would ask for your support in that regard and to consider that in your budget request, because this will obviously go past annual town meeting.
George, just so you know, not to interrupt you, that's something the board has already discussed at a previous meeting. That's why it actually came up. So
Okay.
that was our plan.
Terrific. I'd also like to compliment Lieutenant Kraus on his professionalism and honesty. It caught me by surprise. And lastly, I'd like to compliment Chief Anderson on his managing of the search committee. The process was well thought out. We had some good candidates that came in, and the process, the candidates, they did well, as you see in your report. So we'll look forward to moving forward. That's all I have. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, George, for being on the assessment committee too. I know you and Richie put in a lot of time on that as well.
And it was worth it. The Chief Anderson had it well organized and well thought out, and the meetings functioned, and everything went well.
Thank you. All right, Chris, we're back to you. Anything else?
No.
Next is to accept departmental reports.
I will make a motion to accept departmental reports.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next is to approve and sign maintenance forms. Thank you. And I had to get through my stack of paperwork too.
Do you want me to read the warrants or?
This is the, just the maintenance warrant, right? So this is just the, oh,
That's the bill paying warrant?
any warrants. Oh, you have them in front of you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did you want me to read them or
Sure.
no?
Yeah.
You'd like? Okay. First one is warrant number 61 dated April 4th, 2025 in the amount of $59,315.07. That's a town bill paying warrant.
I'm
Do
sorry.
you want me to keep reading them or you're going to approve one at a time?
I'll approve one at a time like we normally do.
What was the warrant number?
Warrant number 61
I will make,
dated 4/4/2025 in the amount of $59,315.07.
I will make a motion to accept warrant number 61. Yeah, I'm gonna get them off, I guess. I'm just gonna use that. Dated 4/4/2025 in the amount of $59,315.07.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next one is warrant number 61S dated 4/4/2025 in the amount of $71,676.91.
So because you already read it, you can just.
Make a
approve the
motion,
warrant.
make a motion to approve warrant number 61S dated 4/4/2025.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next one is warrant number 62 dated 4/11/2025. It is a payroll warrant in the amount of $450,731.30.
That one, that wasn't in our packet.
Okay.
It was just one that was online.
Oh, because I do have, I will
Yeah.
make a motion to accept payroll warrant. Chris, I'm sorry, the number again?
62.
62.
I'll second the motion.
And any further discussion? I will be abstaining from teacher and select board salary. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
David, I will send the gross selectman salary.
Thank you.
Next is warrant number 63 dated 4/11/2025 in the amount of $72,739.48. That is the maintenance warrant that goes along with the payroll warrant number 62.
I will make a motion to accept warrant number 63 dated 4/11/2025.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No
All in
discussion.
favor?
Aye.
The next one is warrant number 64 dated 4/18/2025 in the amount of $164,150.08. And that is a town bill paying warrant.
I will make a motion to accept warrant number 64 dated 4/18/2025.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next one is warrant number 64S dated 4/18/2025 in the amount of $311,435.55. And that is a school bill paying warrant.
I will make a motion to accept warrant number 64S dated 4/18/2025.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
The next one?
Oh, yes.
This
No.
just said, we're not accepting, we're approving the warrant.
Approving.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
that's all I want to clear up.
Roofer.
The minutes will so reflect. The minutes will so reflect your.
But he wants to make sure we get the wording right. I gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is
Aye.
warrant number 65 dated 4/25/25 in the amount of $49.68. That is a payroll warrant.
I will make a motion to accept warrant number 65 dated, to approve warrant 65 dated 4/25/25.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? I will abstain from teacher and select board salaries. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
David, I will vote out of necessity for the select board salaries.
Thank you.
And the last one is warrant number 66, dated 4/25/25, in the amount of $382,446.58. And that is the maintenance warrant that goes with the payroll.
I will make a motion to approve warrant number 66 dated 4/25/2025.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. So now we got to sign them.
I don't know if you want to sign them now or while we're getting ready to go to executive
Oh.
session, but
Can we do that? Okay.
wait until all.
I was gonna say that went by really fast, but that's because we're not passing the packets. Yeah.
I saw that.
All right, next is to approve and sign the annual town election warrant.
Do you want me to read?
I thought you were reading the
That's-
warrants today, Chris. So when we said warrants, we thought it was the annual town
I thought it
election
was the
that you were
election,
reading,
Oh.
not the,
Right?
Maintenance, not the bills payable in it? Well, that's what maintenance
That's-
warrants are.
That's what I was all.
well, but that's what we thought you were doing, the annual town warrant.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
But that's okay, that went by
I
fast.
thought you was starting something new again.
Oh, okay. Or you're giving me my last hurrah.
In the past, you used to read them.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. All right, annual town election warrant. All right, greetings in the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. You are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town qualified to vote in elections to meet at the Granby Junior Senior High School at 385 East State Street in said town for precincts 1, 2, and 2A on Monday, the 19th day of May, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Then and there to cast their votes for the following offices for 3 years: a select board member, an assessor, a board of health member, town clerk, a school committee member, a commissioner of burial grounds, and 3 public library trustees. For 2 years unexpired term, a school committee member. For 1 year unexpired term, a school committee member and a library trustee. For 5 years, a planning board member. A Proposition 2.5 debt exclusion question. Shall the town of Granby be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2.5, so-called, the amounts required to pay for the bonds issued in order to pay for hazardous materials abatement in the plus or minus 44,000 square foot West Street building and the renovation of plus or minus 22,000 square feet for municipal space, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, yes or no. You are hereby directed to serve this warrant by posting attested copies thereof at 5 or more public places as of the bylaws before the time of said meeting. Hear or fail not and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to the town clerk at the time and place of meeting as aforesaid. Given under our hands this 29th day of April in the year of our Lord, 2020.
So I did not have that paperwork in front of me, so I just listened to you, and Glenn doesn't have it either.
I had it in my,
Oh, okay. So there's only one copy up here?
no, this was what Kathy gave me yesterday.
Oh, yesterday? Okay.
Damn. Wasn't everything Chris said, oh,
It was.
Yes, it was. I followed along. It was, yes.
I know, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, what is he reading? I had this in front of me.
That's
I
the
didn't
annual
know
town meeting.
Yeah.
That's the one, number 9.
Got it. We did not have this in front of us, but if we
I'm sorry.
highlight, yes.
Yeah.
All right. You want to look at it first before you make the motion or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will make a motion to accept the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Town of Granby Annual Town Election warrant to approve, sorry.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
Did you?
The only item I would like to mention is that the Proposition 2.5 debt exclusion question is to authorize, see if the voters are willing to pay an additional amount of money for any borrowing that will be done for the renovation of the West Street School. We did have that meeting back on April 8th, that a option was rejected. The board met with the West Street Building Committee, and we are bringing forth 2 additional options. Option B is to renovate or to mitigate all hazards in the 44,000 square foot building. And then to renovate the 22,000 square feet for municipal offices and senior center. And I believe the additional cost was around 6.4 million. Okay. Option C is to renovate or to mitigate the hazards in the total building and to renovate 22,000 square feet for municipal offices and other municipal space to be determined how it will be filled. Okay. And that one, I think, came in at about 4.6 million, if I remember.
And no COA. They're just prepping that area.
You will be prepping that area, whether or not it will be used for COA or other purposes has not been determined at this point.
And I think, Chris, to also clarify, if people have any questions, they should attend one of the informational meetings that the West Street Building Committee is having, which one is tonight. And then there was 2 other dates sent to us in the email. I don't know if you know them off the top.
No, I
of your head.
don't know them
Okay.
off the top of my head, so, but I just wanted to put it out there to let people know what they're trying to vote on. Number 1, this is just to fund. We will have to hold another special town meeting for the other 2 options to see if the town meeting approves the borrowing and the appropriation spending of the funds. That will come at a later date, probably at a special town meeting to be held during the second half of the annual on June 9th.
We was a meeting, informational meeting on, 5/5, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at, Carnegie Library, and then again on 5/13, 4 o'clock to 5 p.m. right here at the COA.
And we have the select board meeting on the 10th.
Okay, just
Thank you.
want to try and clarify a little bit more for what
No,
people are.
and that's important information, Chris. And it's, for people to remember too, that this is given the option to go back to a special town meeting to actually appropriate the funds to allow the town they wish to borrow. So this again is voting yes doesn't mean it's passing. Voting no doesn't. It's just talking about giving the town an opportunity to revisit this at the special town meeting and to consider borrowing and appropriating the funds for it.
Correct. And I know some people have a concern that there isn't a dollar amount in there. This is written in accordance with the Mass General Law, that the section I'm looking at. Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Paragraph K. It states how the question has to be written, and I wrote it in accordance with Mass General Law. I know a lot of people feel a dollar amount should be there. But the problem that we're trying to do is because we don't know what the exact dollar amount's gonna be that we're gonna borrow.
Because we don't know what option the people are gonna.
Number one, we don't know the option. And number two, we don't know if the bidding market is gonna be right for this project. And it may come in $1 million less than what's being estimated by the cost estimators. Again, there's so many variables that you leave it blank and let the people know you're gonna borrow the least amount that you have to borrow. Okay? Don't give me authority to borrow $8 million because then I can borrow $8 million. Okay? We don't want that. We want you to just be willing to fund based upon the best information available that's being given out at the public information sessions of what they think that'll cost an average or the median household price for the two options. That's our best guesstimate at this point. Chances are the interest rate may be a little lower. Don't know. Again, that all will be determined when we issue the bond. Okay, so there are a lot of variables that could lower the amount that will be necessary to borrow.
Very good.
Okay.
Sounds good. Well put.
Thank you for your explanations again.
So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Dave, I know you weren't able to be with us during the West Street Finance Committee, West Street Building Committee, Finance Committee, and Select Board.
Yeah.
But we did we did support, I could get behind option C was my support. And Glenn, you said B or C, correct?
Yes, more favor of C, but I also
Mhm.
support B.
Right.
I also lean towards C in the meeting previous when we had conversations with the committee, so.
And that's a good point you brought up too. I want the previous select board meeting. We had I think a long discussion with the board members, talking about whether or not to resend this particular piece from the ballot. And we wanted to go forward with it because the West Street Building Committee proposed two other options. And I would say it wasn't a quick conversation. It was a conversation that took some time, and I think the three board members kind of debated back and forth on it. And unfortunately, it's one of the meetings that were not recorded for people to see. So I really want the residents to understand that the board took a lot of time and effort, I think, thinking about this and to move it forward.
And at the meeting last week, they also talked about the modular buildings that was proposed at the meeting. And that was going to be more than what we currently have for West Street proposal. I forget how much it, I wrote it down in my notes, actually. It was over, 1,000 per square foot. Because right now the renovation is coming out $550 dollars per
Right,
square foot.
and the OPM, who we have just been done with a modular project. And by the time they did all the hookups and everything else along with it, it came out to about $1,000 a square foot.
And so is new construction.
Yes.
New construction is also 1,000, or modular is 650 per square foot. They had said at the meeting, but that's not with any soft costs or anything else. And the building only lasts 20 years on average for modular.
Yeah, I think we, I think we had a great conversation.
Yeah.
With the West Street Building Committee and with the two members of the Finance Committee. And Crystal and myself, I think, we had a good conversation, some good debates back and forth, just talking about it, looking at everything. So, for people, if you get the opportunity to watch it on TCAM, I definitely would say it's some good information that was put out there, as well as the information sessions that the building committee is going to be putting forward to.
So with that, we are now going to move to the approve and sign annual town election. No, we just did that one, sorry. We're going to approve and sign 2025 common victualers license.
It's just the early voting.
Well, we didn't table it. We just didn't approve at their office. So it's still going to be the way it always has been, but during their office hours. It's no extended hours. Just at Old Carnegie.
But we need to make a motion.
No, because it's staying as is, so we don't have to make a motion, right?
You're not voting in favor of opting in that it be
Right.
held at her office.
Right.
That was the request in that letter.
Right, so Chris is gonna draft an email that says that they can operate at Old Carnegie Hall
Right.
during business hours,
Yes.
so that it's accessible to all townspeople.
All eligible voters, yes.
Okay, with that said, I will make a motion for a permit fee waiver request dated 3/17/2025 for Granby Charter Days Committee at 10 S West State Street, Granby, Mass. 01033 for common vic licenses, entertainment licenses for Granby Charter Days 2025. They are nonprofit. Yes.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby, certify that Charter Day Committee, 32 Kendall Street, Granby, Mass. 01033 is hereby granted a common vic license in said Town of Granby in that place only and expired December 31st, 2025, unless sooner suspended or revoked. License number 25-33, dated April 29th, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll make a motion for Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby, application for license.
That one just went.
That one just went.
Yep. So we don't have to sign that. That's just their background. page.
That's our background, yeah.
Yep.
I thought it was reading the
Same
same.
thing.
Same.
Yep. There you go.
Thank you. Thought it looked familiar.
I went away for vacation day for a week.
know, well, you
He's in
guys-
vacation mode still.
You guys screwed me all up by, taking the warrants off my hands. I did. I had a system. I'm lost now. I make a motion to Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby, certify Case Fits DBA Stack Cart at 77 West State Street, Granby, Mass. 01033. Is hereby granted a common vic license in said Town of Granby in that place only and expires December 31st, 2025, unless sooner suspended or revoked. License number 25-34, dated April 29th, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
you.
I will make a motion, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby, certify that Rock and Roll Food Truck, 41A, New Braintree Road, North Brookfield, Mass. 01535, is hereby granted a common vic license at said address, 16 East Street, Granby, Mass., and that place only, and expires December 31st, 2025, unless sooner suspended or revoked. License number 25-35, dated April 29th, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? I would like to table this. We have a lot going on at that address. I don't think we should be adding to it by accepting licenses until we talk to special town council on our next steps moving forward. That's just how I feel. I don't feel like we should, I think we're just adding to it right now by approving these licenses.
I tend to agree with that
Mhm.
at this point. It's for a food truck, which means another event coming forward.
Yeah.
Probably.
And until we have a resolution moving forward, I don't feel comfortable approving these licenses.
That would be chartered. They were already.
I would agree that we follow up,
It's the town council.
just in regards to,
Speak with council first. Okay.
What is that in regarding?
It's for a food truck for 16 East Street.
so we'll table that till, next Monday, our next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Entertainment license, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby. I will make a motion to certify that Charter Days of the Town of Granby, 32 Kendall Street, Granby, Mass. 01033, is hereby granted a license for entertainment to provide entertainment to customers as follows. Live entertainment consisting of karaoke, DJ, or bands to be held in the gazebo during Charter Days on June 13th to 15th, 2025, located at 32 Kendall Street, Dufresne Park, Granby, Mass. Also oxen, truck, and tractor pulls. License number 25-10, dated April 29th, 2025. This license is granted in conformity with the status and ordinances related thereto and expires June 13th to 15th, 2025, unless sooner suspended or revoked.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Discussion?
And just to remind everyone, we did waive the fee already.
Right.
We did both.
So,
All in favor?
aye.
All right, so the next thing is to approve and sign minutes. So we've had, I think, two.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. All right, and number 8 is to affirm appointment.
I will make a motion to affirm the following appointments. To certify Thomas Quinlan Jr., 141 Bay Road, Hadley, Mass. 01035, has been appointed as the Granby Building Commissioner for a term ending June 30th, 2028 by the interim town administrator. Make a motion to certify that Thomas Quinlan Jr., 141 Bay Road, Hadley, Mass.
We can lump them together. Or do you want to
Just say,
say separately?
we're
Just their
appointing,
title.
we're appointing Thomas Quinlan Jr. to the following offices.
Appointment. Yeah. Or,
Oh, because they're all the same. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. For the following offices. Granby Sign Officer. Thomas Quinlan Jr. for Granby Stormwater Phase 2 Committee by the Granby Interim Town Administrator. Term ending June 30th, 2026. Certified, this one is different. Here's another Thomas Quinlan to certify Thomas Quinlan for Granby Parking Clerk by the Granby Interim Town Administrator, term ending June 30th, 2026. Thomas Quinlan Jr. appointed for Granby Zoning Enforcement Officer, term ending June 30th, 2026.
for him.
That's it.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Right. I will make a motion, the town of Granby certify that Pam Skiba, 62 Westbrook Road, South Hadley, Mass. 01075, has been appointed to the Granby Cultural Council by the Granby Town Administrator for a term ending June 30th, 2028.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
You would probably want to amend that to interim town administrator.
No, it says interim.
I thought I said interim.
Oh, no, you said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Administrator, okay.
He was hoping.
Yeah. I'm all over the board tonight.
Well, good catch, Chris, because I thought he said interim.
I thought it did too, but maybe I didn't. I will make a motion, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby, certify that Michelle Bushy, 7 School Street, Granby, Mass. 01033, has been appointed to the Granby Cultural Council by the Granby Interim Town Administrator for a term ending June 30th, 2028.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby, certify that Gene Crosby, Pleasant Street, Granby, Mass. 01033, has been appointed to the Board of Registrars by the Granby Interim Town Administrator for a term ending March 31st, 2028. She is 7 School Street in Granby.
So not Pleasant Street?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the wrong one. No, she is Pleasant Street. I have no address for her.
Yeah, there's no number.
Okay.
Okay.
Why is the date different?
It's good to slide that the normal.
That's a good reason, Kathy.
Does it have to be staggered? Okay.
One for the first, happen to be the dates or.
Every April 1st, when a term is up, they're appointed April 1st to March 31st.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next is to approve and sign annual town meeting warrants.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready. I have it in front of me now.
Good. This is for the Commonwealth of Mass, Town of Granby Annual Town Meeting. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of said town, qualified to vote in elections and town affairs, to meet at the East Meadow Elementary School on East State Street in said town on Monday, the 12th day of May next, at 7 p.m., then and there to act on the following articles to wit. Article 1, to see if the town will vote to conduct business of the meeting as follows. On May 12, 2025, consider Articles 2 through 19, and on June 9, 2025, consider Articles 20 through 25. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to approve the consent agenda. Article 2A, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to conduct the following activities for fiscal year 2026. A, to sell after first giving notice of time and place of sale by posting such notices of sale in some convenient and public place in the town 14 days at least before the sale. Property taken by the town under tax title land of low value procedure, provided the select board or whomever they authorized to hold the public auction may reject any bid they deem inadequate. B, to apply for and accept federal or state grants or monies that may be made available, and to allow the select board to expend any funds received as set forth in the appropriate application. C, to enter into a contract with the Mass Highway Department for the construction and maintenance of public highways for the ensuing year. 2B, to see if the town will authorize the various departments to receive compensation for services rendered for fiscal year 2026 as follows. Cemetery Commissioners to be compensated for the bylaws of the town of Granby, Volume 2, Chapter 19, Personnel Bylaw, Appendix D, Compensation Plan, Pay Schedules, to dig graves at a pay rate of Grade 3, Step 1, and maintain the equipment and grounds at a pay rate of Grade 1, Step 1 in the cemeteries. B, the members of the Board of Assessors to be compensated $15 per parcel for necessary fieldwork and data collection for services rendered in connection with the revaluation and recertification process involving 1/6 of the improved parcels in town. C, the members of the Board of Health or their consultants to receive compensation at a wage rate of $35 per inspection or specified required activity. D, the members of the Planning Board or their appointees to receive compensation at a wage rate of $65 per inspection. 2C, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Cemetery Conservation Commission to charge a fee of $75 for each site inspection deemed necessary by a quorum of the commission. Fees shall be payable to the town of Granby Conservation Commission and deposited in the Conservation Hatch Fund. 2D, to see if the town will vote to accept the following gifts in calendar year 2024 for perpetual care of cemetery lots. Charlene M. and Michael Roman, $775. Leela Bass Royal Estate, $775. Carol Frenette, $775. James and Jill Skeeble, $1,575. Louise Mazaros, $775. Guy and Gail Demers, $775. Carl Johnson, $775. Bruce L. and Barbara A. Tatro, $775. 2E, to see if the town will vote to authorize expenditures from these revolving funds for fiscal year 2026 without further appropriations. A Parks Oversight Revolving Fund, from which the Parks Oversight Ad Hoc Committee may spend $30,000 in fiscal year 2026. A Charter Day Revolving Fund, from which the Charter Day Ad Hoc Committee may spend $30,000 in revolving fund monies in fiscal year 2026. C, a Planning Board Fees Revolving Fund, from which the Planning Board may spend $25,000 in revolving fund money in fiscal year 2026. D, an After-School Activities Program Revolving Fund, from which the Superintendent of Schools may spend $20,000 in revolving fund money in fiscal year 2026. A Dog Revolving Fund, from which the Police Chief may spend $15,026 in revolving fund money in fiscal year 2026. F, a Library Revolving Fund, from which the Library Commissioners may spend $2,000 in revolving fund money in fiscal year 2026. 2F, to see if the town will vote to authorize town departments to enter into agreements in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section A, for the fiscal year 2026. 2G, to see if the town will vote to allow the Select Board to appoint a member of the Select Board to a position that is under the supervision of the Select Board, as allowed under Mass General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 21. Article 2H, to see if the town will vote to amend the bylaws of the town of Granby, Volume 2, Chapter 19, Personnel Bylaw, Appendix D, Compensation Plan Pay Schedules, and substituting a new Appendix D showing the 9 pay grades and 10 steps to be effective July 1, 2025. Copies of Chapter 19, Appendix D are available in the Select Board's office. Article 2I, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $362,445 or a greater or lesser amount as its apportioned share of the fiscal year 2026 budget for the Pathfinder Regional Vocational Technical High School District. Article 2J, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $272,708.43 or a greater or lesser amount authorized under Chapter 291 of the Acts of 2004 for highway construction and improvements defined under Chapter 90 of the general laws. Article 2K, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $175,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the town's other post-employment benefits, OPEB, liability. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to accept Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Veteran Exemption Durational Domiciliary Requirement from being domiciled in Massachusetts for the 6 consecutive months before entering the service, or domiciled in Massachusetts for the 5 consecutive years, 2 consecutive years beginning in FY 2020, or if alternative local option accepted, 1 consecutive year before the exemption year to now read, notwithstanding this section in any city or town which accepts this clause, the exemptions available pursuant to clauses 22nd, 22nd A, 22nd B, 22nd C, 22nd D, 22nd E, and 22nd F may be granted to otherwise eligible persons who have resided in the Commonwealth for 1 year prior to the date of filing for exemption pursuant to the applicable costs. Petitioned article by the Board of Assessors. Okay. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 108P, allowing additional compensation for a certified Massachusetts municipal collector or treasurer. This is petitioned by the town collector. That is either 10% of their pay up to a maximum of $1,000 per year upon receiving certification by the Mass Collectors and Treasurers Association. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $106,848 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the replacement of the standby emergency generator and surge protection at the high school. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $34,332 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of purchasing a field maintainer for the school department.
Chris, the field maintainer, is that something that Jeremy currently uses from the town?
They borrow it. We share a maintainer between the school and the town now. And what we are finding is that both departments basically want it at the same period of time. And it's getting very difficult to be able to try and properly maintain the ball fields at Brown Ellison, Dufresne's, and the school with the one maintainer.
Makes sense.
Okay. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $47,851 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the replacement of hosts and data units for the school department. And that data should be DATTO. Those are basically backup units. So I just have to correct that. I think the auto correction mode changes to that.
So data.
That's DATTO. It's the specific name of a backup unit that we use.
So do they have a backup unit now?
Yes, but what they're doing is they need to upgrade it because it's an old system.
Okay.
Article 8, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $114,891 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding technology upgrades for the school department. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $40,995 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of purchasing a new vehicle for the Council on Aging Department. This vehicle will replace the small blue van that they currently use.
And that's because the blue van is not.
The mileage is up there. It's starting to show wear, and it's time to replace it before we start having to put a lot of money into it. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $123,200 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the replacement of the energy management system for the public safety complex. That, again, was installed when the building was built back in 2010. It's outdated. They're having a hard time connecting to it. It doesn't work well with Windows 10 and Windows 11. That's going to be coming down in October of this year. So they want to upgrade it to a current system so that they can be able to log in and be able to help control it on a better method.
So I know, Chris, with all of these that we're saying pull from the stabilization fund, free cash, borrow, or bond.
Next week, when we go through the motions, they
Okay.
will identify the actual funding.
So this is just where we could pull them.
This thing is just warning the inhabitants
Okay.
that this is what we will be addressing at the town meeting.
Okay.
Like I
Thank you.
said, next week, the motions will be ready for you to review, and that will identify the actual funding source.
Thank you.
Okay? Article 11. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $77,606 or a greater or lesser amount for the purposes of funding the purchase of a marked cruiser. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $124,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purposes of funding the purchase of a Bobcat for the Highway Department. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $95,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of a 1-ton dump truck for the Highway Department. Article 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $37,000 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the purchase of a tractor for the cemetery department. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $86,772 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of funding the tuition for Smith Vocational Agricultural High School students. And normally we've had 3 for the last couple of years, but when we had a conversation with the school department, when we met with them today, remember the finance committee and school department?
Yes.
They mentioned the possibility of 4 students for
Correct.
next year.
They-
So this is at the per student tuition rate for 4 students.
Okay.
Okay. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds, $613,048 or a greater or lesser amount to operate the municipal solid waste department. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds, $310,580 or a greater or lesser amount to operate the sewer department. And just so the board knows, at the meeting, their next meeting, I will be putting forth the proposed sewer rates to fund that department. And you have to actually vote on what the sewer rates are going to be effective July 1 of 2025.
And Chris, just to also be clear, the sewer department, to operate the sewer department, that's solely by the people who use the sewer,
Correct.
right? So.
Sewer user fees.
Right, so we're getting the fees from the people who use the sewer. It's not everyone in the town paying.
Correct. Correct. Article 18. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds $605,828 or a greater or lesser amount to operate the ambulance department. And that may change because we were talking about longevity. I have to check and see if that was included in my numbers. Okay, so that may go up by probably another 2,000. Just so you,
And that's without the adding a full timer?
no, that's what Russ had
Yeah.
presented tonight.
Okay.
And to add on the additional and then have that, I guess, shift in the middle for when they consider or have a per diem come in for their needy shift, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
Okay. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, transfer from the stabilization fund, transfer from free cash, borrow or bond, $27,000, or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of purchasing an auto pulse CPR unit for the ambulance department. An auto pulse CPR unit is basically a unit they strap on the chest, and instead of someone having to keep doing the compressions, it does compressions automatically, which frees up a person to be able to do other things while the person is laying there.
So question, Chris.
Yeah.
This came up in our opioid committee today, in which the fire department and the police department were thinking about possible funds that we could use the opioid task force money for from the settlement. And this was one of the questions, and Chief O'Grady was going to reach out to the state because the company that is quoted us on this price said that we can use those funds for it. So
I would
I
rather
don't
get
know that we can.
I would rather get the answer from the Attorney General's office,
okay.
who oversees this program.
So is that who Chief O'Grady should contact then? Because he said he was just
If
going to
need
call the
be,
state.
if
so-
need be, I can go back and look at my emails and give them a name and maybe an email of a person.
Yeah, just
Should
to help
contact.
him out, because I don't know who he was gonna call. He just said he was gonna call the
And
state.
actually, before you spend any money, you really should be contacting that oversight agency to make sure it falls within the guidelines
So maybe that's who he was gonna call.
that we received the money under the settlement, because the settlement was very restricted as to what the funds could be used for.
Good.
Okay,
So oversight guidelines,
yes.
and who would that?
Again, it's with the Attorney General's. I
Okay.
have to look it up.
Okay.
Okay. That is where we will end the May 12th meeting.
Yep.
Okay. Now, the next article, we have to hold a hearing on a bylaw change at your next meeting also.
Oh,
Okay,
yes, I remember Dave and, town
Yes.
council were working on this.
yes, okay. So Article 20, to see if the town will vote to enact Chapter 25 of the Town of Granby General Bylaws entitled Stormwater Management for the purpose of regulating illicit connections and discharges into Granby's storm drain system and to regulate stormwater runoff from new development and redevelopment projects. This is necessary to protect, maintain, and enhance the public's health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens, as well as the quality of groundwater and surface water bodies of Granby. Along with associated regulations, the purpose of this bylaw is to bring Granby into compliance with state and federal requirements relating to stormwater discharges, particularly its U.S. EPA National Pollution Discharge Elimination System, NPDES, Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4 permit. A copy of said proposed Chapter 25 bylaw is on file with the town clerk. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds such sums of money as may be necessary to defray the expense of the town, including debt and interest for the ensuing year. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to transfer from the Capital Equipment Needs Stabilization Fund $200,400 for a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of reducing the funding from tax levy. That is the annual appropriation we make of the Capital Stabilization Fund to cover the debt service for all borrowing that was approved by the Capital Improvement Committee in years past. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash $1,883,046.18 for the purpose of reducing the funding from tax levy for fiscal year 2026 appropriation. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to transfer from account number 24-122-5801-013 bond premiums to be applied $10,932.77 or a greater or lesser amount for the purpose of reducing the funding from tax levy for the fiscal year 2026 appropriations. This dollar amount is when we borrowed for the East Meadow School. We had a bond premium that we received. We got more money than what we needed. What we have to do per DOR regulations is over the course of the 25-year note, is take a portion of that premium and apply it against the amount we're raising from the debt exclusion. So this is FY 26's appropriation that has to be transferred. And then Article 25, to see if the town will vote to assess the amounts raised and appropriated on these articles and warrants on the estates and personal property of the town of Granby. And I've said a mouthful.
Yeah.
Chris, so the Article 23. So
Yep.
basically, what we're asking the people to spend, we don't have in the amount of taxes that we raise. So we have to clean out our savings account for a lack.
We're cleaning out free cash. Yeah, we're cleaning.
Okay,
We're not cleaning out our savings because our savings accounts are really the stabilization
Okay.
funds. Okay, those are our savings accounts.
Okay.
This is just money because we performed so well. We underspent what we budgeted for expenditures and we got more money than what we budgeted for revenues. When those two numbers are added together, it gets what's called free cash, because we are expecting to spend a certain amount in expenditures and get a certain amount in revenue. Because we exceeded the amounts that we did or underspent what we expected, we now have funds available to be used for other purposes. And that's calculated on an annual basis based upon the prior year June 30th balance sheet. Cash isn't free.
so I was gonna say, so last year we underspent.
We underspent some
Okay.
appropriations
Okay.
and we received more money, more revenue than what was anticipated.
But now we're gonna use it to help with this year's.
This year's budget, yes.
Okay.
Now, we may luck out again and not spend what we are thinking we're going to do on the expenditure level. We may bring in more revenue than we anticipated. Again, that'll generate free cash for the next fiscal year. Hopefully. And then the last page of the warrants says, and you are hereby directed to serve this warrant by posting attested copies thereof at 5 or more public places as of the bylaws before the time of said meeting. Hereof fail not to make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to the town clerk at the time and place of meeting aforesaid. Give it under our hands this 29th day of April in the year of our Lord, 2025.
And then next meeting, we'll go over who's gonna read May 12th. And then at your further select board meetings after May 19th, you go over who reads which article at June 9th. Right, so
I will make a motion to Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby, Annual Town Meeting articles to approve the town articles as written.
the town meeting warrant.
Meeting warrant.
Second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. So, why we are signing this. I just wanted to let the board know that I did talk to Jacob Macko from DCR for the tree planting that is occurring this Sunday at Dufrane's Park with the 30 seedlings. I have a group of about 10 people that are going to go and plant. I did meet with maintenance, with Jeremy Carrier, our maintenance department head, and I also met with Dave DeRocher, our highway department head. And there is no machine that they can give us that will help us bring water up to the seedlings. So with the board's approval, I'm going to ask permission for my husband and I to utilize our Kubota and quad to bring water up to the seedlings for that day. I don't know what the long fix is going to be for getting water to them every other day. But that's where we're at right now because the seedlings have to go in the ground on Sunday. And I've tried to figure out how to get it there otherwise. I did talk to Jacob Macko, Chris, with your, trying to solve the solution of getting water to the seedlings by putting them in the 5-gallon buckets. And he said they actually won't survive any longer and it will make it harder because then they're in 5-gallon buckets and then we have to truck them up there in the 5-gallon buckets.
Okay.
So he's like, you really just need to get it in the ground. And if for some reason the town can't get water to the seedlings, cross our fingers, hope they live. That's really all we can do at this point. So I don't know how the board feels about that, but I talked to Dave DeRocher. They're the only machine that they can get up in the terrain because it's so steep is their skid steer. And one of the springs is bad on it, and he thinks carrying a load or water cube is going to damage the spring and break it because of all the jostling it has to do going up the hill. And maintenance doesn't have anything to go up the hill that they can use. So what do you guys think? I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I'm like, my husband is adamant that you're positive that he can get the Kubota up there. And we also have a quad that can also get water up there as well. And then I do have people bringing, if they have an empty gallon milk jugs full of water that we can use. This is 30 seedlings. They're small. We can see if that can help. Questions, thoughts?
I think it's fine. I mean, it's in your backyard more or less anyway, right?
I will fill out the sheet for the volunteer waiver that the board has approved.
Just have concerns if
Yeah.
something happens.
Which isn't that what the waiver's for?
Yes.
Signing off liability.
Right, but, yeah. I'm saying something happens out there, an accident happens or something like that. It's,
So that's actually a question. Do you want everyone who's helping me plant fill out that waiver before we go up the hill and start to plant?
I would say,
So I can bring that waiver, I can bring copies of the waiver with me for however many people are there to sign their own, for volunteering to help. Do I have to have the DCR state forester do it, Jacob Malcolm? Yes. Do you want me to have him sign it as well?
I would think he would.
No, because he's in charge of the program. He's in charge of the program. So I think if he gets injured, it's gonna be him doing his
Yeah,
job as a,
right, he might be being paid to be there anyway, so that's part of his job.
yeah, so I would say no on him.
So I'll have all volunteers fill it out. My husband and I will fill it out.
Wonder if,
I just have concerns with not so much the quad, because we've had quads go up there before.
The Kubota.
With the roller being up there and just something, if something happens, something goes wrong.
is there a nearby trail that you can?
So the hiking trail, which there's actually a steep entrance on both sides, whether you go straight up the hill where they logged, or if you go in the trail that's already made where the big sign is, they're both steep. I've gone up both during charter days when we did the color run with the golf cart. It can make it.
What about the fire department? What about their brush truck?
No, they said no. We wouldn't be able to do it.
But they have the all-terrain one, right?
Yeah, but I think they said no, that it wasn't available.
How far up is it?
I think it's almost to the top of the hill, isn't
It
it?
is all the way to the top, in the back. I don't know. If I had to say, it's at least a quarter of a mile, if not more. So it's a long hike if you're carrying a 5-gallon bucket of water. So we were trying to figure out how to do it without putting all the strain on the people who are trying to help in carrying up these 5-gallon buckets of water.
No, I'm not looking to put the strain on people. Maybe the 5-gallon bucket of water for,
Well, that's one of the things. So like if you get a pail with a cover on it so the water's not sloshing everywhere, they were trying to do that. Or we could do a water cube.
and I know, no, how much water does seeds
Does a seedling need?
need?
You need to soak it. He didn't specify how many gallons or anything. He just said you need to give it a good soaking, especially to get the roots to spread out and really get the tree to attach to the soil and not fall over and
I
stuff.
think a gallon of water is,
Gallon or two, I would think, depending on the soil conditions.
But who has 30 gallons of milk containers at home? So I asked him to keep them for now and like we'll just fill them up. But I don't know anyone who has those at home. I don't have them.
I would see if maybe the fire department has water backpacks that they use out fighting brush fires. They're called
That's a
wildland,
really good idea.
I think they're called wildland packs
Okay.
that they wear on them to go and hit like the hot spots.
Yeah.
During a forest fire. Or see if maybe they can borrow them from maybe a surrounding department that may have them.
Maybe the base.
The base, Westover. Okay.
Just a
I'll check with
suggestion.
Chief Anderson and see. That's a lot easier than carrying pails in your hand.
Yeah.
So the Kubota has a bath, has a bed. A quad does not. So
So
we would have to finagle something to carry the water onto with a quad.
well,
and we'll-
It's not, I'm not saying it's not doable. I'm just saying my
No, I
husband
just-
will
but
finagle
that's-
something.
for the component, or probably, you said, for the water weighs a lot.
Yeah.
But those are probably made to handle, I'd say probably, what, 500,000 pounds back.
the Kubotas?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
I
just
just don't
500.
For the water coolers. And then put the coolers on the water.
Yeah, but I think Glenn didn't want the Kubota up there. I think it's what he was saying.
I just gotta figure a way.
Well, I'll talk to my husband about it more because we have a meeting on Monday,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
no, we're supposed to be doing it Sunday.
Sunday.
It doesn't help.
I get back to you Monday, let me know.
I know. Let me know how that went. I can reach out to the fire department and if you guys want, I can have Chris keep you guys informed, see if they have the water packs. Talk to my husband more about it and see how to get the water up there. And then I'll just have him
Yeah.
contact you guys and then see. Here are our options. What do you guys want us to do?
Well, I think we go at 5 miles of hose that we can, fire department can run up the hill.
5 or 6.
Miles?
Yeah. Or when we go into a water hole.
No, but you think that's that far up the hill?
No, he's saying we have hose.
Well, that's what I was thinking,
So we-
'cause you get-
When dump take it out of Dufresne
Yeah,
Pond. If, I'm just saying as a potential option.
Would the fire department be available to do that? Because I obviously can't do that.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying, but if they're saying their machine can't go up there.
so how far is it again?
Well, she says about a quarter of a mile.
Mile, if not a half a mile up the trail.
That is, what's a quarter mile? That's
100 feet or so,
100 feet or so.
roughly.
So you're talking about 13, 14 100-foot hoses.
I'm not good with distance, guys.
No, but that's what I'm talking about. You can hook it up to,
The water tanker.
yeah,
Well, I agree, that's what I'm saying.
but we just use a regular hose. million fire hoses either. I mean, I got 3 or 4 hoses at the house.
So their all-terrain isn't available. Is it because they don't have staff? Because,
I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
is They don't have enough volunteers to be able to assign for that day.
okay. So we wouldn't have anyone to drive the truck over there to water.
Well, I'm sure we could get whoever's on duty to drop the truck off and then back.
What side are we
Check
coming
out.
in from? Parking lot side?
You're
The
coming
Kendall
on
Street
Kendall
side.
Street. You're coming in off of Kendall Street.
So right by the
Right there.
parking lot going up.
Yeah, right by the pavilion.
So why
This
don't
is-
you get up there if the pavilion has an outside of Boston?
I don't think we have garden hose that can go that far.
I don't know that,
You'd have to have
I
got,
think we'd have to get every garden hose in the
Yeah.
town of Granby.
well, not
Hook
to
'em
mention,
together.
I mean, well, you get garden hoses that are 50 feet, 100 feet long. That's 14, 15 hoses.
right, but
But then you're
I would
buying-
be,
yeah.
I would be concerned that you're overworking the pump at the well to get it uphill.
Oh, gosh, no.
You don't think so?
No.
1,500 feet? That's a lot.
But as soon as it's pressurized, it's already there. I mean,
I know, but to get that.
You have to go
pressure
against
uphill,
gravity.
we're not filling a pool.
I don't disagree, but
Well, it's only a small distance up and everything else is.
But I'm just saying, I mean, you're talking at the most 25 gallons of water, 50 gallons of
Yeah.
water. That's very
I
much.
mean, I don't know if it would pump up there.
But that's the question, how much pressure are you creating at the pump wellhead?
And what's gonna be up top, right? That's what I'm thinking. It may not, I mean, if it's only a 3/4 horse motor in there, it may not even get to the top of the 1,000 feet of hose.
I can talk to Chief Anderson because I didn't talk to him. I just talked to maintenance and highway. I can talk to Chief Anderson and see what's available.
Don't they have the, who has the one that just drop on the side and like you said, it pulls out of the pond?
That's out of the truck itself, the tanker truck.
No, some of them had those sides.
That one has the unit where you put a screen on it and you just throw it into any pond. And then you use the power of the truck
Right.
to shoot it.
I thought I'd seen that before. Maybe it's not. I was thinking it was the like a compressor type thing that would pump the water out.
Yeah.
It's almost like a pump. They drop it in there and it pulls the water out. But
That's usually out their tanker truck. That's what they use. Because of what they've done sometimes is they'll put that into like a pond and then they have like a little tank, portable tank that they set up out of plastic or rubberized material. And they pump into that and they can pump out of that.
so it's just like
I wonder if anybody has, a small portable, I mean, like, so I have, when we do our maple syrup, I have holding tanks. I could give you I'd let you use 125 gallon, or I have a 75 gallon. That's small. That would fit in the back of your Kubota, but we don't want the Kubota up the hill. So I've actually put it on the back of my quad on a small trailer, but that might be difficult too.
The only thing I was thinking too, though, is we don't want to leave a cube up there because we don't know who's going to vandalize it. That's one of the other things
Right.
that we were
So a
concerned
small,
about.
like the 70-gallon tank that I have, you could
Use
fill it halfway.
Yeah.
And then bring it back down the hill. And leave it.
Are you available on Sunday to help us?
I think I can be.
because I can always find like 5 gallon jugs.
Yeah, we used to use those just
Yeah.
to transport.
Yep.
Or 5-gallon jugs. Yeah.
The only other suggestion I would have is contact Chief Brady as the emergency manager and see if maybe MEMA may have a unit that could assist us.
Right, because the tanks that I have are just holding tanks. You'd have to still get the water out of the tank.
Which if we have empty buckets,
Which you
they're a
could-
lot
which you
easier
could
to
do.
carry with the tank, with the cube or
Yeah.
the holding tank already
Right.
up there. You're just carrying it to the seedling.
There's a plug on it. So you
Yeah.
can pull
Yeah.
the plug, fill a bucket,
Yeah.
and then stop it and fill one bucket after the other if that works.
Who would have thought planting 30 seedlings were going to
So-
do this?
No, I just think, and I'm sure nothing will even happen. I just, kind of the what if thing, and that's up there, something happens. What type of Kubota is it? It's like
It's
the,
a utility one that we bought off the college. I think we bought it off the Smith
Yeah,
College
so
when they were selling them.
They use those for ground ski.
yeah, so it's not much different than a golf cart, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's got more power.
four-wheel
It's just
drive.
beefy. It's
Yeah,
more,
it's a beefier one, yeah.
but it's
For
like,
lack of a better word.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
it's
Not
not
modern,
yeah.
it's modern.
But normally they have four-wheel drive and then they
Yeah.
have the dump bodies in
Yeah.
the back, so.
up to jail, but it's just the. I was thinking like something different.
Yeah,
Like a,
or the high schools in Chicopee have
Yeah.
them for maintenance.
Police department has a golf cart.
Right.
If the Kubota, I don't know, I just think about the what ifs, right? So if the Kubota can't make it up because of the weight or something like that, or because of the steepness of it, you said you have a quad and a trailer?
Mhm.
So I have a quad, I just don't have a trailer. So if you have your
Small.
trailer,
Small trailer.
then he can put it on there and get it up there.
and it's just again.
And it's one day.
Yeah, we got to man the Kubota gangs. That's what it's built for.
I think
But,
it'll
yeah,
get there.
it's just you make several trips with the water. That's all. I just want to overwork that either.
Right. And how do we get the tank off your truck onto the Kubota? We could
I
talk
can
about.
bring it to you empty, you can fill it
Okay.
at your house,
Okay,
right?
yes.
If we
Good
don't need,
thinking.
Well, you could fill it at the pavilion.
okay.
Well, that's true, as long
Yeah,
as it's unlocked, because Jeremy locks it, I think.
I mean, if we're only gonna
Okay.
take 35, 40 gallons up, then we can just fill it right there and just bring a wrench to pull the plug off and we can fill a bucket
Okay.
one at a time. We'll lose a little bit process, but if we have a bucket catching
Like I
it.
said, but I get to go back down, go back.
Yeah, sure. Right.
And I'll have to reach out to Jeremy too, because I need the key to open up the gate to drive it over the dam at Duverne.
What time you do this? That's something.
9 on Sunday is when Jacob is meeting us there.
I'm trying to make my way over there too.
Thank you. But I'll reach out to Jeremy for that key because I don't want to drive the Kubota on 202 and that's what I would have to do to get to the other side. Because the gate is locked right over the,
You go down to Taylor Street. Oh, we still have to go.
you have to go through that gate over the pond. There's no way to get to the other side unless you take it into the woods the very long way
I might
from the
have-
dog park side.
I'll talk to him, I might have a set of keys.
Okay. All right. So I know we've got executive session. Was there anything else you guys wanted to?
Just
But-
one about the extending of the lease.
Yes.
I did speak with the property owner.
Yep.
And she does not agree with going with the option that Glenn has suggested, that she go out and get the price and that we reimburse her the price. She feels the town can get it at a cheaper price. And number one, and number two, she doesn't have the first idea of how she can turn around and put together a set of specs to get someone to come in and get work. She feels that David is probably more qualified to do the work than what she would be qualified to do to be able to go out and list it. So her answer was no on that option.
Okay.
So you can think about it, and we can talk about it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Because like you said, we were supposed to be in executive session at 7, it's now 8:15.
And I know, Chris, one thing that I wanted to put on the agenda for May 5th is I know the planning board got a grant to look at the zoning bylaws. So when I met with the building commissioner, he had mentioned that they just did the same process in Hadley and that we should have a zoning bylaw review committee. And he gave me a list of people that he had suggested should be on it. A member from the select board, the ZBA chair, town clerk, fire chief, a member of the planning board, himself, the building commissioner, and a representative from the police. So it doesn't have to be the police chief, but a representative from the police department and 2 or 3 residents. Because one of the big things that is coming down the pike is the ADUs, the accessory dwelling units. It needs to be updated and the Airbnbs. If we are going to do Airbnbs, we need to adopt the 10th edition. So he mentioned again that they just went through it. And of course, Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, Ken Comio would be on it because he's part of the grant process. So I think for our May 5th meeting, if we can appoint that committee and get them started, because they did get the I think it was a $50,000 grant.
Yeah, but the only concern I have with that is you have a new town clerk being elected on May 19th.
Okay.
So if a town clerk is supposed to be on there, you would want to delay the appointing of a town clerk.
Okay. So, but that would be the only one that we would delay for now. And then we can get the other ones. So if anyone wants to be on the zoning bylaw review committee, who is a resident in the town, we need 2 or 3 members.
It's like the select board member as well.
That's
Until
gonna change.
the appointment. Okay. I mean, you guys can delay it until after the May 19th because I can't imagine them starting to review until,
Well, that's the thing.
yeah.
And I don't know if Ken Comey will be available, but I'm sure somebody from Pioneer Valley Planning Commission will be able to assist us.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to mention that. And with that, anything else for next on Monday? We will enter executive session 30A-21-A5 to investigate charges of criminal misconduct or to consider the filing of criminal complaints. And then we will go into executive session number 2, which is 30A-21A3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares. We will only come out of executive session to adjourn the original meeting. Roll call vote, Dufresne, aye.
Labonte, aye.
Sexton, I.
Thank you.